The space race was one of the most intense and high-stakes competitions in history. It defined the Cold War era, pitting the United States against the Soviet Union, two superpowers competing for technological and ideological supremacy in outer space. From the late 1950s through the early 1970s, this rivalry sparked incredible advancements in science and space exploration. The space race began in earnest on October 4, 1957, when the Soviet Union successfully launched Sputnik 1, the first artificial satellite into orbit. This shocked the world, and especially the United States, which had assumed it was ahead in technology. In response, the United States established NASA in 1958, marking the beginning of a race that would escalate rapidly over the next decade. On April 12, 1961, Soviet cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin made history as the first human to travel into space and orbit the Earth aboard Vostok 1. His successful mission gave the Soviet Union another victory in the space race. Gagarin became an instant global hero, a symbol of Soviet technological prowess. The United States responded quickly. Just a month after Gagarin's flight, Alan Shepard became the first American in space during the Mercury Redstone 3 mission. Though he didn't orbit the Earth, the United States was catching up. Then, on February 20, 1962, John Glenn became the first American to orbit the Earth, cementing NASA's place in the space race. The Mercury program laid the foundation for the more ambitious Apollo missions. The race was on. President John F. Kennedy made a bold declaration in 1961, promising to land a man on the moon and return him safely to Earth before the decade was out. Both the U.S. and the USSR poured enormous resources into their respective lunar programs. While the Soviets struggled with several setbacks, the U.S. pushed forward with its Apollo program. It wasn't just about scientific discovery. This was a battle of ideologies. Democracy versus communism. Winning the space race meant winning global prestige. On July 20, 1969, the space race reached its dramatic conclusion. The Apollo 11 mission successfully landed humans on the moon. Neil Armstrong's first words as he stepped onto the lunar surface, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind," echoed around the world. The U.S. had won the race to the moon. While the Soviets had significant successes early on, this singular achievement secured America's place as the leader in space exploration. The space race may have been born out of Cold War rivalry, but it inspired decades of collaboration. The Apollo-Soyuz test project in 1975 saw U.S. and Soviet spacecrafts dock in space, a symbol of a new era of cooperation. The space race also laid the groundwork for future international efforts, from the Space Shuttle to the International Space Station, which now hosts astronauts from around the world. In the end, the space race showed what humanity is capable of when we set our sights on the stars. While the space race ended decades ago, its impact continues to inspire us today. The frontier of space remains one of the greatest challenges and greatest hopes for humanity's future. Unlock more fascinating historical stories by subscribing. Have a topic you're curious about? Drop it in the comments and let's explore the past together.